I've always been the kind of guy who respects a line in the sand. Give me a fence, a deed, a map with a thick black border, and I'll sleep just fine. You know what I mean? That's just how I'm wired, maybe because I spent most of my life in the military. Or maybe it's just 50 odd years of living in a world where folks will test your boundaries if you let them. Either way, I never imagined I'd be standing on my own porch one warm April morning in Texas. Black coffee in one hand, dog at my feet reading a letter telling me to get out of my own house, like I was some kind of squatter who wandered in through the back fence and made a home in the tool shed. So there I was, sun barely up, planning to patch the workshop roof. Duke, the world's most loyal hound mix, snoring at my feet when I see an envelope half jammed into my mailbox. No stamp, no return address. Just that cheap sticker that said, "To the occupant." I figured it was another ad for gutter cleaning or some cable offer I'd never take, but nope. I open it and see the Maple Creek Homeowners Association's ugly logo at the top, and the tone is this weird cross between legal threat and your grandma's passive-aggressive Christmas card. They're telling me there's going to be an unscheduled compliance inspection on Friday, everyone at 107 Canyon Hollow, which is my address always has been must vacate between 10 and 2 for the integrity of the inspection process. Like I was supposed to pack up and go sit at the diner while they poked around my place. I laughed so hard I almost spilled my coffee. Not just because of the nerve, but because I never signed on to any HOA. When I bought this place, the realtor nearly bragged about how it wasn't under their thumb. Paint your shutters neon purple. He said nobody's going to care, which I never did, by the way, but that's not the point. So I chucked the letter in my junk pile, figured it was a mistake. Maybe some clipboard warrior got his wires crossed. Wouldn't be the first time. Friday comes around, and I'm under my truck elbow deep in an oil change when Duke lets out this low, unsettled growl. Not the bark he saves for mailmen or the UPS guy, but the real, we got trouble kind. I crawl out, and sure enough, 2 white SUVs with HOA decals are squatting halfway up my gravel drive. 4 folks in matching polos and sensible shoes are fanning out, one with a clipboard, one with a tablet, another with a tape measure swinging from her belt. They look like they're about to hold a home invasion seminar. I wipe my hands and say, "Can I help you with something?" Clipboard guy gives me this rehearsed patience, tells me they're here on Maple Creek's behalf for an emergency compliance review. Said I was informed in writing. I tell him, "Yeah, got your letter, but I'm not part of your HOA, never signed a thing. I got the plat map to prove it." He doesn't even blink, says, "There's been a boundary reassessment. As of last month, my property falls under their extended purview." I almost laughed again, but his tone was so smug it made the hairs on my neck stand up. I ask if they've got a court order or any real paperwork. He dodges, says they're carrying out their duties, and waves his crew forward like I'm not even standing there. So I step in their path, say, if they're thinking of hopping my back gate, they ought to think twice. The woman with the tablet pipes up, says they're authorized to take photos for documentation, with or without my cooperation. I point to Duke, tell her she'll get more cooperation from him than from me. That stops them a second. Clipboard mutters something about escalation and pulls out his phone, probably to call their lawyer. I tell them to get off my property. They ignore me. Then one guy named Gary tries the back gate like he's done it before. That's when I decide I'm done being polite. I go to the garage, take out my Remington, don't even raise it, just cradle it in my arms and step out. They freeze. Duke barks once, sharp as a shot. And just like that, they're scrambling for their SUVs and peeling out, throwing gravel all over the drive. My heart's racing, not from fear but disbelief. This is my home, my land, and they think a new map lets them barge in like they own the place. 10 minutes later, sirens wail down the street. 2 patrol cars light, spinning cops shouting at me to put the gun down, hands in the air, so I do set it gently on the porch, palms up. The younger cop's jittery, the older one, John Mercer, keeps his cool. They check my ID, listen, while I explain about the letter, the bogus inspection, the trespass. When the older cop realizes I'm a vet, says he did his time in the Army too. His stance softens a bit. They check my records, watch the security footage, see everything for themselves. Turns out the law's on my side, my deed's clean. No HOA ever filed, no covenants, nothing. The cop writes it up as a civil misunderstanding, tells me the HOA's filing a complaint, but I haven't broken any laws. Then under his breath he says this isn't the first time they've pulled something like this, but it's the first time anyone's pushed back. He leaves with a copy of my footage and a handshake. That night I can't sleep, too wound up. Next morning I call Mara, my attorney, sharp as a tack and twice as mean if you cross her. She laughs, tells me she's got enough ammo to bury them in paperwork. By that afternoon she's hit them with half a dozen legal requests. Show me the boundary maps, your authorization, your insurance, the works. And she's just getting started. Then she gets creative, asking for any document showing I'd agreed to join or any justification for involving armed police. The HOA goes silent. But by Monday, I notice strange cars rolling by, folks snapping photos pretending not to watch. So I give them something to look at. I dress up the yard with a neon orange garden gnome holding a sign that says "Down with fascist flower beds." Pitch a patio umbrella in band colors. Post a sign by the mailbox reading "Trespassers will be sarcastically complimented and mocked online. They bite hard." I get another letter, this one longer and twice as dramatic, rattling off violations of visual standards and neighborhood continuity. Still never mentioning I'm not a member, just full-on HOA theater. I scan the letter posted online with a snarky commentary. Next thing I know, it goes viral. Neighbors send in photos of their outlaw gnomes, anti-HOA memes. And it snowballs until local news gets wind. Channel 4 sends a reporter who promises jerky for Duke if I do an interview. So I do tell the truth, plain and simple. By that night, the HOA is scrambling. City council's involved, and suddenly an official audit is coming down on Maple Creek like a Texas hailstorm. I get an email leak from an anonymous neighbor. Turns out the president, Karen Green, was trying to quietly absorb my property into the association to grease the wheels for a rezoning project her developer buddy was pushing. Mara files an official complaint for coercion and fraudulent annexation. City officials show up, confirm Maple Creek's been redrawing boundaries without consent or legal notice, not just on me, but half a dozen other homes. They issue a notice of non-compliance, and suddenly the board's printing flyers asking everyone to support community values, which is code for "Please don't riot." Duke shreds the flyer for me. Things start happening fast. Karen's exposed ties to the developer made public, and neighbors who'd barely nodded before are dropping off cookies, whiskey, even a petition to boot her from the board. One couple brings a casserole and a note. "Keep going. You're doing what we're too tired to do." For the first time, I'm not alone. My fights become the whole neighborhood's. The moment of real change isn't a bang, it's a knock at the door one evening. Terrence Lee, the new interim HOA president, is there with a six-pack and a folder of reforms. Says he wants to rebuild the HOA from the ground up. Transparency, voluntary membership, real homeowner rights. Wants my help because I never backed down. I make him promise there'll be no HOA poison in the mix, and he says that's exactly why he came to me. We spend weeks rewriting the rules, adding protections, opt-out clauses, annual elections, and a member consent guarantee. When we present it at the community meeting, more than 100 folks show up, some for the donuts, some because they're tired of being pushed around. I tell my story, answer their questions, and when the vote comes, 81% say yes. Maple Creek's not perfect, but it's different. No more secret fines, no more mystery maps. 4th of July rolls around, sky on fire with fireworks, grill smoking, neighbors laughing in my yard. That gnome, now retired, sits in a place of honor. I give a toast. It's a hell of a thing not being afraid of your own neighbors. Let's keep it that way. They cheer, somebody yells John for mayor, and I just grin and go back to my ribs. Later, as the last bottle rockets pop in the distance, I sit on the porch, Duke at my feet, and pull out the old HOA letter, the one that started all this trouble. Thought about burning it, but instead I fold it up, tuck it into my journal. not as a reminder of what they tried, but of what we stopped together. So here's my question for you. What do you think? Is it better to fight, to compromise, or just to move on? Where's the real line between community and control? Tell me down below, because I'll tell you one thing. No one should ever feel like a trespasser on their own land.